The opportunities for both China and Australia as we go into the 21st century are excellent for both nations and both peoples.
Were you comfortable if they were interested in investing in roads or in ports, even in electrical poles and wires? Would a Labor government led by you be comfortable with their state capital and that of other countries coming into Australia in that way?
I've always been interested in the Australian national interest. We have a Foreign Investment Review Board which assesses all of the big foreign investment proposals. It doesn't matter if it's from a Chinese state-owned enterprise or the Duke of Westminster. What we're interested in Australia is jobs, we're interested in investment, and we've got a robust national interest test applied by the Foreign Investment Review Board.
So was your state leader in New South Wales, Luke Foley, right to raise in the midst of an election campaign the spectre of Chinese communists owning that state's or leasing that state's electrical distribution network?
Well, first of all, let me just say back to Australia, there has been no one, and I've done many, many meetings, who's raised the New South Wales state election as a matter of importance between Australia and China and their relationships. Going to the specifics of your question, New South Wales Labor has a clear view against privatisation, but that election's now been fought and had.
So the election's been run and won around largely that privatisation question. So are you suggesting then that Luke Foley and his team should move on to a post-opposition position on privatisation?
I'm running the national opposition, the Federal Labor Party, not New South Wales Labor. I recognise that the election was fought. Both parties had clear policy differences in terms of the privatisation of electricity assets. How New South Wales Labor conduct themselves is a matter for them.
So you have no policy position in relation to privatisation of those assets from a national point of view or in a potential Chinese investment in them?
No, I haven't said that. In terms of New South Wales privatisation, that is a state matter. In terms of foreign investment in Australia, on balance, I welcome foreign investment in Australia. We've got a robust national interest test, but Australia's fortune rests, in my opinion, being an internationally focused country, not one where we pull up the drawbridge. The rise of China, the rise of Asia, is unreservedly good news for Australia, and it's important in the 21st century that our national government and our national political debate focuses on the benefits of the rise of Asia for Australia and for those nations in Asia.
And would you be prepared to sit down with Luke Foley and explain that to him?
Well, Labor has always had an international view about engaging with the rest of the world, but when it comes to Asia, the party I lead has a proud record of engaging with Asia in the last 40 years.
All right, well, some of that New South Wales privatisation debate does lead in part to Canberra because there are moves afoot to expel a party luminary in Martin Ferguson. What's your position on that? Because plenty of people are lining up now in support of Martin Ferguson. What attitude will you take when that one comes forward?
Well, what I said before the election with regard to this issue was that Martin Ferguson's had fairly long-held personal views, which people have been aware of. I also said before the New South Wales election, when asked the same questions, that Martin Ferguson holds no position of any authority in the Labor Party. He's not a member of caucus. Now, I would expect, in light of some of the debate, that the Labor Party will investigate what's gone on here, as they should.
So would you be comfortable with him being expelled if that was the will of the party?
Oh, I think you're getting ahead of what the investigation may determine. I certainly won't. I'm aware that there is great passion and frustration from people about the television ads which will run. What I also expect is that the Labor Party will calmly and sensibly investigate this matter as they should, and I certainly won't prejudge matters as the leader of the Labor Party.
But isn't there a principle, before you even get to an investigation, isn't there a principle involved about freedom of expression and going after former elders? Why stop, for instance, with Martin Ferguson? Why not go after Paul Keating, Bob Carr, Michael Egan? All had publicly expressed views on that issue.
Well, first of all, your question assumes that I'm going after someone. I've clearly said that.
No,
I
the
am
party
not.
seems to be.
Okay.
I think it's within the ability, some might argue, for a federal leader to call off the dogs, as it were.
Well, I understand completely the right of people, and not just senior luminaries, as you call them, to have individual views. I don't think the disagreement in and of itself is an issue which qualifies for great controversy. But what I also understand is that there's a counterpoint of view which says that people who consciously sort of work with your opposing political parties, that's a different issue. Now, it's up to the Labor Party, the administration of the Labor Party, to work out where this matter stands. Is it the expression of individual long-held views, or is it working with another political party to undermine your own political party? That'll be a matter for the administration of the Labor Party. It's a serious matter, and I expect that the Labor Party will investigate it.
And no doubt that will continue to be debated while you're overseas. But Bill Shorten from Beijing, thanks for your time.
Thanks. Good morning.